Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting to feel perfect. You never will. And the people who changed their lives, the people who kept moving when everything said stop, they knew this. They did not wait. They built something stronger than feelings. They built habits. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a graded lesson for English learners who want more than words. Today's lesson is about 7 powerful daily habits. Habits that will help you face failure. Habits that will silence self-doubt. Habits that will make you unstoppable. Not tomorrow, starting today. Here is something most people get wrong. They think unstoppable people are special. They think those people were born confident, born disciplined, born without fear. That is not true. Unstoppable people feel doubt just like you do. They feel fear just like you do. They feel tired, lost, and broken sometimes just like you do. The difference is not how they feel. The difference is what they do when they feel it. And that difference comes down to habits. Think about the last time you failed at something. Maybe it was a goal you did not finish. Maybe it was a job you lost. Maybe it was a moment when you looked in the mirror and thought, I am just not good enough. That feeling is real. It hurts. And it is also completely normal. But here is the truth. That feeling does not have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning. You are not perfect, but you can be unstoppable. 7 habits, 7 simple daily actions, not big dramatic changes, not a new personality. Just 7 things you can start doing today, right now, with the life you already have. By the end of this lesson, you will know exactly what those habits are. You will understand why they work. And you will have no excuse not to start. If you are serious about changing your life, subscribe right now. New lessons come every week, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Now, let's begin. Habit 1. Take action before you feel ready. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you woke up and thought, I feel completely ready for this? I feel 100% confident. I feel 0 doubt. If you are honest, the answer is probably never, or almost never. And yet some people still get up, they still go, they still do the work. Not because they feel ready, but because they decided. There is a big difference between those two things. Feeling ready is something that happens to you. Deciding is something you do. Here's the truth. Motivation is not a fuel you can rely on. It comes and goes. It is strong on Monday and gone by Wednesday. It feels powerful at the start of a new year and disappears before February. If you wait for motivation to move you, you will spend your whole life waiting. David Goggins knows this better than almost anyone alive. He grew up with abuse, poverty, and fear. He was overweight. He was lost. He did not wake up one morning feeling motivated and suddenly become a Navy SEAL and one of the toughest endurance athletes in the world. He built a system. He took action before he felt ready, every single day, until action became who he was. He said the mind gives up long before the body does. And the only way to push past that is to act first and let the feelings catch up later. Kobe Bryant said something similar. He trained at 4 in the morning, not because it felt good, not because it was easy, because he decided that 4 in the morning was when the work happened. Full stop. He woke up, he drove to the gym, he worked. That was the habit, not the feeling. Now think about your own life. You have a goal. Maybe it is getting healthier. Maybe it is building something. Maybe it is learning a new skill. And every morning, you wait. You check your phone, you scroll. You tell yourself you will start when you feel more ready, more confident, more motivated. But here is what science tells us. The brain changes with action. When you do something consistently, your brain builds new pathways. It gets easier. Not because you suddenly became a different person, but because repetition rewires you. Neuroplasticity. Your brain is not fixed. It grows with every action you take. A weak mindset waits for motivation to arrive. A strong mindset takes action and lets motivation follow. You do not wait to feel like it. You do it because you decided to. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you think about whether you feel ready, do one thing. One small action toward your goal. It does not need to be big. It just needs to happen. That is habit 1. Take action before you feel ready. Habit 2. Use failure as your teacher. Nobody talks about their failures at parties. Nobody posts their worst moments online. Nobody says, "Hey, look at this thing I tried and completely got wrong." We hide failure. We are ashamed of it. We treat it like it means something terrible about who we are. And that shame, that silence, that running away from what went wrong, that is one of the most dangerous habits a person can have, because failure is not the problem. How you respond to failure is the problem. Listen carefully. Every failure contains information. It is telling you something. Maybe it is telling you that your approach was wrong. Maybe it is telling you that your timing was off. Maybe it is telling you that you need a different skill, a different plan, a different partner. But it is always telling you something. The only question is whether you are willing to hear it. Carol Dweck spent decades studying why some people grow after failure and others collapse. What she found was simple but powerful. People with a growth mindset see failure as a signal. It says, "Not yet. Try again. Learn something." People with a fixed mindset see failure as a verdict. It says, "You are not good enough. Give up." The difference is not talent. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is not luck. It is a choice, a daily choice about what failure means to you. There was a man who built 3 businesses. All 3 failed. The first one ran out of money. The second one had the wrong product. The third one lost its biggest customer and never recovered. 3 times he started. 3 times he watched it fall apart. Most people would have stopped. Most people would have said, "This is not for me." But he did not stop. He sat with each failure and asked one question. What did this teach me? The first failure taught him about money management. The second taught him about understanding customers. The third taught him about building relationships that last. By the time he started his 4th business, he was not the same man who started the first one. He was sharper. He was wiser. He was ready in a way that only failure can make you ready. His 4th business succeeded. Average people run from failure because it hurts. Disciplined people run toward what failure teaches because they know it builds them. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path to success. So the next time something goes wrong, and something will go wrong, do not hide from it. Do not pretend it did not happen. Sit with it. Ask the question, what did this teach me? Write the answer down if you have to. That answer is worth more than any book, any course, any advice from anyone who has never failed at anything. Every failure tells you something. Listen. That is habit 2. Use failure as your teacher. Habit 3. Train your self-talk. Before you say a single word to anyone else today, you have already had a conversation. A long one. With yourself. Most people never notice this conversation. It runs in the background like a program you never turned on. And for a lot of people, that program is not kind. It is not encouraging. It is not a coach. It is a critic. A harsh one. One that notices every mistake, every flaw, every moment you did not measure up. You woke up tired. The voice said, "You are so lazy. You made a mistake at work." The voice said, "You always do this." You looked in the mirror. The voice said, "Not good enough. You tried something new and it did not work." The voice said, "What did you expect?" Stay with me, because this is where so many people lose the battle before it even begins. Not because of their circumstances, not because of their talent, but because of the voice they listen to every single day. There was a woman named Sarah. She was not a bad person. She worked hard. She cared about the people around her. But every morning she woke up with the same feeling. A low, quiet voice that said, "You are not really capable of this. Other people can do it, not you." For years she believed that voice. She stayed small. She said no to opportunities. She told herself she was being realistic. One day someone asked her to write down what she said to herself every morning. She did. Then they asked her one question. Would you say these things to a friend? She sat quietly for a long time. Then she said no. I would never say this to someone I cared about. So why are you saying it to yourself? If your thoughts convince you that you are a failure, you will act like one. If your thoughts remind you that you have gotten through hard things before, you will act like someone who can get through hard things again. If your thoughts treat you like a person worth believing in, you will start to believe it too. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. This is not about forcing yourself to smile when you are hurting. It is about choosing a voice that is honest and fair. A coach does not lie to you and say you are amazing when you are not. But a coach also does not destroy you when you fall. A coach says, "That did not work." Here is what we do next. Most people talk to themselves like an enemy. Unstoppable people talk to themselves like a coach. You cannot stop every negative thought from arriving. Thoughts come. That is what minds do. But you can choose what you do when the thought arrives. You can let it sit there and grow, or you can answer it calmly, firmly, like a coach would. Something went wrong today. Say it out loud. That did not work. What do I do next? Feeling like you are not enough. Answer back. I have felt this before. I kept going. I will keep going again. The voice in your head is either your worst enemy or your strongest coach. Habit 3 is training that voice one day at a time. You cannot stop the thought, but you can choose what you do next. Habit 4. Stack small wins every morning. There is a question worth asking yourself right now. How do you start your day? Not what you do first, not what time you wake up, but how do you feel in the first 30 minutes of your morning? Do you feel behind before you have even begun? Do you open your eyes and already feel the weight of everything you have not done yet? Or do you feel something different? Something small but solid. A sense that you are moving. That today you already did something that matters. That feeling does not come from big achievements. It comes from small wins. Now think about this. Every morning is a chance to build momentum. And momentum does not need a big push to start. It needs a small one, a consistent one. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, spent years studying how habits actually form and stick. What he found was this. It is not the big dramatic efforts that change your life. It is the tiny actions repeated every day. Getting 1% better each day adds up to something enormous over a year. You do not notice it on Tuesday, but you feel it by December. The math is simple. Small wins compound. Skipping small wins also compounds. Two very different directions. Sarah, the woman we talked about earlier, started with one thing. Every morning before she looked at her phone, she made her bed. That was it. One small action. And something shifted. She opened her eyes and had a task. She completed the task. She started the day having already won something, even if only something small. That one win gave her the energy to do the next thing, and the next, and the next. Within 3 weeks, she had added 2 more small habits to her morning: a short walk, 5 minutes of writing. Nothing dramatic. But every morning she stacked 3 small wins before the day had a chance to knock her down. Her self-talk changed. Her confidence grew. Not because her life suddenly became easy, but because she built proof every single morning that she was a person who followed through. You are not perfect, but you can be unstoppable. Small wins are not about feeling good. They are about building evidence that you are someone who does what they say they will do. Every morning you stack a small win, you cast a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Not the person you were yesterday, the person you are choosing to be today. If this lesson is hitting you, hit subscribe right now. There is more coming and you do not want to miss it. So start tomorrow with one thing, not 10 things. Not a perfect morning routine you found online, one thing. Something small enough that you cannot say no. Make your bed, drink a glass of water, write 3 sentences, walk for 5 minutes. Do it before your phone, before the news, before the noise of the day tells you who to be. One small win in the morning changes the whole day. That is habit 4. Stack small wins every morning. Habit 5. Protect your energy. Learn to say no. You have 24 hours today, the same 24 hours as everyone else. And right now, someone or something is trying to take a piece of them. A meeting that did not need to happen. A conversation that goes nowhere. A request from someone who would not do the same for you. A habit of saying yes when everything inside you knows the answer should be no. This is not about being selfish. This is about being serious. Hear me on this. Unstoppable people are not people who do everything. They are people who do the right things. And to do the right things, they have learned one of the hardest skills in the world. They have learned to say no. Saying yes feels easy. Saying yes feels kind. Saying yes feels like you are helping, like you are a good person, like you are part of the team. But there is a cost to every yes that most people never calculate. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that matters. Every yes to someone else's priority is a no to your own. Every yes to distraction is a no to the future you say you want. You say you want to build something, but your evenings disappear into other people's problems. You say you want to get healthier, but your mornings fill up with requests before you have taken a single step. You say you want to focus, but your phone buzzes every 12 minutes and you answer every single time. Your energy is not unlimited. Your attention is not free. They are the most valuable things you own. And every day, if you are not protecting them, someone else is spending them. People who quit on their goals protect their comfort. People who build something real protect their habits. Think about what you said yes to last week that you should have said no to. A social event you did not want to attend. A task that belonged to someone else. A conversation that drained you for hours. How much time did that cost you? How much energy? What could you have done with that time instead? This is not about becoming cold. It is not about shutting people out. It is about understanding that your most important resource is not money. It is not connections. It is not talent. It is the focused energy you bring to the things that actually move your life forward. Protect that. Guard it. Build a wall around your best hours and fill them with the work that matters. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to your future. Start small. This week, say no to one thing you would normally say yes to out of guilt or habit. Just one. Notice what that time feels like. Notice what you can do with it. Notice how differently you feel at the end of that day. That is habit 5. Protect your energy. Learn to say no. Habit 6. Review your day every night. Most days end the same way. The phone, the TV, something to watch, something to scroll, something to make the mind go quiet after a long day. And there is nothing wrong with rest. Rest is necessary. But there is a difference between resting and disappearing, between switching off and checking out entirely. The most disciplined people in history did not end their days that way. They ended their days with a question. What did I do today? What went right? What went wrong? What will I do differently tomorrow? Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men who ever lived. He was the emperor of Rome. He commanded armies. He made decisions that affected millions of people. And every night he wrote, not for anyone else, for himself. His private journal became what we now call Meditations, one of the most read books on self-discipline in the world. He did not write to show people how wise he was. He wrote to hold himself accountable. He wrote to examine his own thoughts, his own mistakes, his own moments where he fell short of the person he wanted to be. Night after night, year after year. A Roman emperor sitting alone asking himself, did I live well today? Let me make this simple. You do not need to be an emperor to do this. You do not need a leather journal or a quiet study or an hour of silence. You need 5 minutes. And one honest question. What did I learn today? If you ended the day without finishing what you planned, that is data. Why did it not get done? Was the plan too big? Did something take your energy early on? Did you say yes when you should have said no? If you skipped a habit you committed to, that is data. What got in the way? What will you change tomorrow? If you closed the day feeling proud of something, that is data too. What did you do right? How do you do more of that? Experience without reflection is just time passing. Experience with reflection is how you grow. You are not perfect, but you can be unstoppable. Think about the last 30 days of your life. How many of those days did you actually stop and ask, what did I learn today? For most people, the answer is close to 0. Days blur together, weeks disappear, and then months later you wonder why you were standing in the same place you were before. The nightly review breaks that cycle. It turns each day into a lesson. It takes the failures and the wins and the ordinary moments and asks, what can I carry forward from this? 5 minutes before you sleep. Put down the phone, ask the question. Write the answer if you can, even 2 sentences, even 1. Just enough to mark the day as a day you were paying attention. The day is not done until you ask, what did I learn? That is habit 6. Review your day every night. Habit 7. Stay in the room. Never quit early. This is the one that separates everyone. Not talent, not intelligence, not connections or money or perfect circumstances. This one thing. Whether you stay or whether you go when it gets hard. And it always gets hard. There is a moment in every difficult thing. A moment when your body is tired and your mind is loud and everything around you seems to say the same thing. This is not working. You are not enough. It would be easier to stop. That moment is not a sign that you should quit. That moment is the test. And most people fail it. Not because they are weak, but because nobody told them that the test was coming. David Goggins calls it the 40% rule. When your mind tells you that you are done, that you have nothing left, that you cannot take another step, you are actually at 40% of your real capacity. 60% is still there, untouched. Waiting. Your mind quits long before your body has to. And the only way to access that 60% is to stay in the room when every part of you wants to leave. Pause for 1 second. Think about something you quit. Not something easy. Something that mattered. A goal, a project, a commitment you made to yourself. Think about when you stopped. And ask honestly, was I really at my limit, or did I stop because it was uncomfortable, because it was taking longer than I expected, because I was afraid of failing in front of others? Most people quit at discomfort. Very few quit at their actual limit. Remember the man who failed 3 businesses. After the 3rd failure, he sat with the question, what did this teach me? He did not book a flight. He did not change his name. He did not disappear. He stayed in the room. He reviewed. He rebuilt. And when the 4th business was struggling in its first year, when the money was tight and the doubt was loud, and his family asked if maybe it was time to stop, he stayed again. He stood at the edge of quitting. He breathed through the fear. He stayed because he had built the habit of staying. Not glamorous, not dramatic. Just a daily decision to remain when leaving would have been easier. That man's business did not just survive. It became the foundation of everything he built after. Most people quit just before the breakthrough. The last mile is always the hardest. The last rep is always the heaviest. The last push before something breaks open is always the one that feels most impossible. You are not perfect, but you can be unstoppable. And here is what unstoppable actually looks like. It is not someone who never doubts. It is not someone who never wants to quit. It is someone who doubts and stays anyway, who wants to quit and keeps going anyway, who is tired and scared and unsure and still shows up the next morning with the same 7 habits. Action before feeling. Failure as a teacher. Self-talk like a coach. Small wins in the morning. Energy protected. Day reviewed. And when everything says stop, stay in the room. 7 habits. Every day. Without perfection. Without waiting to feel ready. Without needing the conditions to be right. Just you and your decision. Again and again. That is habit 7. Stay in the room. Never quit early. 7 habits. Let's bring them all together. Habit 1. Take action before you feel ready. Do not wait for motivation. Decide and move. Habit 2. Use failure as your teacher. Every failure carries a lesson. Sit with it. Ask what it is teaching you. Habit 3. Train your self-talk. You cannot stop every negative thought, but you can choose what you say back. Talk to yourself like a coach, not an enemy. Habit 4. Stack small wins every morning. Before the noise begins, complete one small thing, then another. Build proof that you are someone who follows through. Habit 5. Protect your energy. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to your future. Guard your best hours. Say no without guilt. Habit 6. Review your day every night. 5 minutes. One honest question. What did I learn today? That question turns experience into growth. Habit 7. Stay in the room. When everything says quit, remember that most people stop at 40%. The breakthrough is on the other side of the moment you most want to leave. None of these habits are complicated. None of them require special talent or a perfect life or the right circumstances. They require one thing only: a daily decision to do them. You will not do them perfectly. Some days you will miss one. Some days you will miss all 7. That is not failure. That is being human. The only real failure is deciding that missing one day means the habit is gone forever. It does not. Tomorrow exists. Start again. The people who changed their lives were not the ones who never fell. They were the ones who built something solid enough to come back to after every fall. These 7 habits are that something solid. They are not a promise that your life will be easy. They are a promise that you will be equipped for it. The habits are simple. The decision is yours. Make it today. You are not perfect, but you can be unstoppable. Which of these 7 habits do you need most right now? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you know someone who is struggling, someone who is doubting themselves or running from failure, share this lesson with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. Thank you for being here. Keep listening every day. This is how English learners grow, one lesson at a time. I will see you in the next one.